Right, I got a couple of Amazon boxes. One was smaller than the other, so I'm assuming the rack is in here, so let's get this out. Right, the GoPro crashed. I was using my phone app to control it when I was actually filming that, so I'll go over this again. So, the thing basically came in a big Amazon box, but the only real packaging it was in this plastic bag and wrapped up in the Amazon packing paper. So this is the rack as it comes delivered. So I'll just go over some of the things I mentioned when I was looking at my old rack that this differs in. So the first thing you'll notice is this horizontal mount here, which helps click your pannier bag in the top. The second thing is that there's a pannier mount here, so we're able to mount the pannier bag here when the bag is along the top. And this is the disc edition, so probably most of you get disc brakes these days, or a lot of you will anyway. So there's enough clearance here for the disc brakes. And then the whole main feature of this Topeak rack, and the reason I've bought this and the bag, is this Quick Track. So I'm hoping that that's going to make life a lot easier sliding the bag in and out of here. I've also got standard rack features. You've got the mount for the lights there. I think there's some kind of Topeak light system as well that fits on that, as well as standard ones as well. So and it's an aluminium rack. As I said, it's black. It will soon get some wee marks and stuff, but hopefully just touch that up. There's a few little holes here. That's probably for water to drain out. Little holes there, just to stop water gathering. So it looks pretty solid. It feels well built. The maximum load 26 kilograms, that's plenty. So it looks quite nice. So what I'll do is I will get the old rack off, I'll read through these instructions, and then we'll get that fitted. So a quick thing I'll do just now is take two of this, but I'll just weigh the rack and we'll get a rough idea of how much it weighs. So 928 grams, so the racks are pretty heavy. That's still almost a kilogram of weight you're lugging around, but it's helping you carry your bags, and you know, it's the utility of the rack, which is why I've got it. Also, it keeps me fit. I'm lugging about this extra kilogram on my bike. It's just meaning I have to burn more watts to go the same speed, which keeps me fit and strong. So one day if I ever get a super light bike, it'll be amazing to feel the difference. I think my current bike, I'm sure it weighs about 15 kilograms with all the stuff on it. So without further ado, I will go and get the old rack off, and then we'll film myself fitting this rack, just if anyone is interested. And then we will go on to review it as a unit, the rack and the bag together, because I think people aren't really buying this rack. Well, they probably are, but a lot of people will be buying this for the MTX track. So that's what we're interested in this set of videos just now. So bye for now. Right, so we'll talk a little bit about weight. I expected the new rack to be a little bit heavier. There's a bit more tubes involved. Didn't maybe expect it to be quite as heavy, but it does make sense when we look at the sort of other features of the rack. And it should be noted that you can buy an adapter to fit on your existing rack that fits the sort of MTX Quick Rack system. But that's like made out of plastic. That probably adds 200 or 300 grams anyway. So I think if I did buy the adapter from my old rack and attached it to fit this new bag, the overall weight of my rack plus the adapter would be the same as this new rack. And the new rack is obviously very sturdy and has got some nice features in terms of the way that the panniers hang off them. And to be able to have the panniers hanging off and the bag on top is a bonus. So here we go. I'll show you my old setup and some of the weights, and we'll see how they compare. So one thing I notice is that the actual rails themselves are pretty heavy. They're quite long, so that's like 100 grams for the rails. Depending on how short these need to be, you might be able to just get metal saw and cut off a section and sand it down to smooth it. So they're 101 grams on their own. So I'm not sure when they give the weight of the rack, they're giving it without these parts. But if we add on the bolts, we're like 139 grams now just for the accessories, and also these sort of light fitting things. You may not be fitting all these things at once, but plonk a little in there just to get an idea. So 162 grams without anything. So on its own, the rack is coming in at 739 grams. That does ring a bell in terms of the advertised weight I've seen listed on the websites. But you're always going to have these rails and these screws. So that brings it to 878 grams. And if you fit on this piece here, 891, or this piece here, just for light, I think you maybe need that bolt as well. Again, this is alright, 889. And then throw all up. You can only have one of them at a time, but overall weight up with all the accessories, 900 grams, look at that. But I believe that you may not be needing to use these parts. So we'll call it 878 grams as it stands. So here we have my old rack with a nice wee zip tied mudguard. And you can see this is a much sort of simpler design. There's just like these 3 posts going up here. That's obviously still pretty strong. But it's not as easy to attach the panniers in here. You can do it, but it's not the nice horizontal there. And you can see as well the panniers are clipping on the top here. So there's not really that easy to have a pannier in a top bag. And I think I mentioned before, the bag I've got currently, because this is not getting a mounting system, Velcro straps underneath here, and it's actually very difficult to get it on and off as it stands with this kind of mudguard solution. And I've got this mudguard because my current tyres are too big to have mudguards that go over the wheel that fit, standard mudguards. So I was actually quite surprised how light this thing was. So we'll get it on the scales. So this thing, without its bolts, 583 grams, and that's including the mudguard, which I'm not sure how heavy it is, but I'd say it's an essential thing to have on the rack when there's no mudguards. And then we add in the extra bolts that were on it, and it is 630 grams all in, with sort of decent amount of mudguard protection. So I can't remember the exact weight of the other one, but it was near 900 grams. So it's quite a difference. Maybe we're talking maybe almost 300 grams, 250 grams thereabouts. Which, if you'd watched my last review of the lock, is about the weight of my little cafe lock, different. So not insignificant, but I believe the features of the new rack basically will outweigh the weight penalty. And the convenience of having the bag to slide in and out, and also the better pannier mounts give me much more flexibility in the future for what I have planned to do. So here I think we see the first challenge. So what I've done is I've just jammed in a couple of little screwdrivers down here just to get an idea of how near it needs to be from this. Now they say an angle 2 to 3 degrees from horizontal. The top bar, top tube is horizontal, I believe, in this bike. So you're talking about a bit, something roughly like that. So this is the one that comes with it, this huge big thing. Now, if that's going straight back out, it's nowhere near the centre, so it's going to have to come in here, and that's going to be a sort of funny angle, and it's not going to be great. The bolt's not going to be, you really want that straight, so we might have to be bending this in as well. And then the problem is, with this being so long, these two things are going to cross. We'll definitely would need to cut that. So if I have a look at my old one, that's a lot lighter and looks a bit easier to bend. So there might be a possibility that I use these instead, so they won't overlap as much underneath. Might just need to go more of a, maybe like a 2 degree angle. Like so. I've got a digital spirit level. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to go that crazy, but well, I can measure this angle and then this one. So to decide which things to use, I might just fit the bottom first, even though it said not to do that, and then fit these. I've got it on the workstation, so it shouldn't be too hard to get underneath and attach these bolts. And I've got a feeling I'm going to give these ones a shot first. I might get away with just putting one bolt on, because the load's all sort of pushing down. This is more just holding the thing in place. It'll be sturdy enough, I think, with one bolt in it. And then we might just get away with this angle. So we'll see. So we'll give that a shot. This side was a bit tighter to get off. And that's going straight in. Even looks a bit offset actually. Yeah. Right, we're going to go for it. I'm just going to put the bottom on first. Also, I never mentioned before, hear that? There's a little Rattolino thing in here, a little bit of metal. Some people are just saying spray up some grease, it'll stick onto that. I was bothered about it for a wee while, but then I picked up my old rack and it's got the same blooming rattle and I hadn't even noticed for years. And it sort of came fitted in the shop, so we'll just ignore it for just now. And be careful as well to put it on the right one. There's like two things here, these are for the mud guards. So you stick it up there, you can see that's far too high up. It's the bottom ones. So I'm not going to use any Loctite for now because don't know what it is, it's not arrived yet. So I'll probably take these back out and put them back in with Loctite. So this is the easy part, I'm afraid. The next part's going to be a bit of a nightmare. So let's leave them in like that just now. So 2 to 3 degrees, so that was 4.5, 6.5, what would that look like? So you can see there, it's quite a bend we need to get on that. That looks roughly small angle. 4.3 string is one of the handiest things you can have in your toolbox. So we're talking somewhere around there. So new bolts for the top. Yeah, I don't think these bolts are going to come out anytime soon, they're pretty long, so probably we'll just grease both sides. That's actually not looking too bad. And with any luck, we sort of tighten up this bolt. Once these are sort of as best they can, that'll maybe bend that in and we might be alright and good to go. That would be very nice. Just greasing this up just now, just in case I problem getting it off. These are actually much better bolts than the last one, proper size Allen key. That one's a really small heads. So again, loosen this off so we can get our bolts in. Now instructions didn't mention anything that I could see about grease or Loctite. So I might do a little bit of research to see what I think is best. I'm glad I'm making this harder than it needs to be. There we go. So we want to be able to even tighten this thing up and hopefully bends this thing out a bit. Make it more tight like that because that way the bag's weight's sitting back more. So we'll go for that. Tighten the back ones up. I really have no idea the best plan for tightening these up. Let's just see what happens. Right, that actually worked pretty well. You can see that bending round. Well, this thing, I tighten that, maybe bends that in a bit. Let's get this side looking the same first. It's not too bad. Can't quite tell if we're all lined up, but the last one was all over the shop, the rack. I think it looks quite uniform. So we can see because of the angle here, these things are bending here, so we'll see what happens when we tighten these up. Not bad at all. That kind of really straightened things out. Not bad at all. So if I want to see how straight this thing is, I can maybe try and measure these guys. Let's have a look. .1 and 11.1 there. That's actually looking pretty good. So I'm quite pleased I just used these other ones. They were actually, that's like saving 50 grams. The two of these together are about 50 grams. Those things were 100 grams. And if I look back here underneath, doesn't quite look the same angle there. Obviously one's kind of just bent in a bit more, but I think those longer rails would have possibly sort of started colliding here, and probably would have to saw them down a bit. I'll just grab one and have a look just now. Yeah, I can tell from looking, I put these on because they were both bending the same way, but they've both got the same twist outward. I should have actually had that one the other way around, so they were more matching. I might swap them over. So if we had used these rails, it might have been okay still, but you can see there it would have been, yeah, they could have bent one on top of the other. It shouldn't have been a problem really. They're bendy, but that's an awful lot of extra metal. I would have definitely probably wanted to trim them off. So I'm fairly happy with that, apart from this here. Maybe I'll swap that over. It's just these angles here aren't quite the same. I can measure them later. But there we go. So I'd say that fitting this rack wasn't too difficult, but partly due to the fact I've used these old attachments here, which are a bit sort of thinner and a wee bit easier to work with, so they probably bent quite easy. I would be interested to see tightening up that last bolt here on this. These are pretty solid, and I don't think this is going to make the thing any weaker. This part, the weight, you know, you're hanging all the stuff down here. This is where all the load's coming down, so I don't have a problem using these. I'm still probably going to use this old rack on a different bike, so I'll need to keep these things together with that. And then that's funny, because then this thing's going to be heavier because of these racks, and this thing's getting a bit lighter because of these, so a little bit of compromise there. So what I'll do just now, that's me finished fitting it. I will just tighten these up a little bit again, just double check the tightnesses of them all. I've got a torque wrench, but I don't think it's worth doing that. I think just hand tight should be enough. And then we'll get the wheel back in and then have a look at the bag. So here we have the bag, and I'll do a more detailed overview later, but what we're going to have a wee look at just now is the weight of it. So it's a pretty sturdy bag. You've got the big thing that goes in the track there, that's obviously a bit of weight, and it's rigid, so it's not going to be moving around. That's one of its kind of features. And also we've got the fold out panniers on the side to give it the extra capacity, which is excellent. So grabbing extra shop on the way home, throwing in milk, heavy cans of things should all fit in there fine, and this needs to be sturdy against the side, so it's excellent. And that obviously comes at weight cost, so I'll stick it on just now. I'm looking at 1,255 grams, so like 1.2 kilos. The old bag, this cheap little thing, cheap and nasty, it sort of kind of did the job. Let's take out the hand sanitizer. It's lightweight, but it straps on. It's a dead pain to put on and off. So that weighs 357 grams, 356. So I'll do some maths and stick the difference up there. But we're talking significantly less weight there, but no convenience whatsoever. Not really any storage. These are just standard side pockets. So I thought I'd just add this little video in. I think a more fair comparison with the smaller saddlebag would be the weight of the saddlebag plus this kind of pannier that I've got. This is like an old pannier I've had for years. It does the job. It's not very waterproof, but it's perfect for carrying an extra load. So if I put this on to our weight, so what we've got there, we've got, can't quite see that, 607 grams. So that's probably a more fair comparison, because I think the capacity of the saddlebag that I was using to compare was nothing like the capacity of the Topeak bag with its 2 side panniers out. But with the other old saddlebag with this pannier, I think that's more comparable. Although you can definitely cram quite a lot in this thing. This is quite, you can get quite a lot in here. So probably, yeah, I'd say roughly equal comparison. So what we'll do is we will also show an option of the weight of this pannier plus the saddlebag without the side panniers compared to the MTX trunk bag.
2 is the second natural number, the first even number, the smallest prime and the only even prime.
Thank you, Alexa.
You're welcome.
So let's let the rack see the bike. So a little bit of Teflon spray, I think someone recommended. Slide that in there. Beautiful. Now that looks nice. And it looks as like, I think maybe when they were fitting this in the shop they heated up this metal to bend it, God knows what that was, but that's looking slick. I'll check all the angles again. Once I get the bike down and I've not got this big thing on the top tube, I'll actually do a proper measurement and see how far off the recommended thing is. But that's pretty sturdy. There's probably going to be some kind of rattle in there, but there should be weight in this thing. I did speak to someone that had this bag and they really liked the bag. They said it rattled and that, but I'm sure we can figure something out. But yeah, the bag looks top quality. The person I spoke to also managed to break one of these zips, so I will be careful with the zips. So there we go. We'll go into more detail on this bag later, but now I'm actually dying to get out and give it a wee shot. The rain is due in less than an hour, so I'm going to stick something in here, maybe even like a little beer, go for a cycle and check it out. I'm quite excited. So bye for now. Oh, let's test it out with ice cold Tennants. That's nice and cold, not cold. I left it at the side of the fridge, stupid. I was meant to put it in. But this thing, cold. One of them in there. We'll cram these in. We'll see how we get on. Little movable compartment, ice cold beer compartment. Other thing. And then I can stick my tool bottle in here, or in the bike frame. Oh, there's a little secret pocket under there, your wallet or something. And I've put my pump on the frame, and I can take my cafe lock, and away we go. I now pronounce this rack open. Oops.